What is up, YouTubers and viewers? This is the Tyco Trail, and I'm going to be showing you some of the rare trains that the Tyco collectors like to look for. I have like a table full of them right now, and I'm going to be showing you each one of them and show you why they're rare or why you should try to find buy them for a collection. But it's only for anyone who's going to be going for Tyco and try to find the trains, but it's for anyone to see. But anyway, let's get started. This is actually my profile picture of the Pirate Caboose where I hold it in my hand, so move out of the way. And this is gonna be probably a lot of parts. I'm gonna be doing a part 1, part 2, and a part 3. And now let me show you what I have, and these are some trains you have to find. Starting off with the GP20s. This is a rare Rio Grande GP20. I don't know how many years it was produced, but it said it was actually hard to find, and sometimes on particular websites they mostly sell these, but finding one probably in mint condition like this one is a little bit of a keeper. And this is a black bottom unit. All the rivets are the same, and this engine only appeared I don't know if in the catalog though with some of the sets, but this is still a rare unit. Another rare unit that gets a few confused is a Southern Pacific, but unlike this one, the Southern Pacific and Continental has the exact same paint scheme, but unlike the Southern Pacific one with the Continental, this one's actually a little bit more viable and a little hard to find. But with this one's a little bit more of a faster runner, and it's a gray bomb too, but this one's actually considered a little bit more rare than the Southern Pacific, but both of them have the exact same values to them. Another famous one is the All Night Central red and gray one. I explained this in another video that this is possibly much more rare than the Golf Mobile and Ohio one, which I sadly don't have, but this is actually the rarest GP20 in my collection right now, and I'll let you view another one. Okay. And for another rare one that I featured in the last video was a Chicago Northwestern GP20. But with this one, I added the cap, but this is not by Tyco. This is actually by Montour from another unit which I borrowed, and I put it on here. And this part's actually hard to find. This is a removable. This piece is always an add-on, and I just added on this unit. But with this one, I don't know how many years this one's also been produced, unlike the Essential one which I showed you, which that one was a black bottom, and this one's also a black bottom too with the different rivets than the front one. And all these GP20s I showed you, these are a little bit hard to find. Now with the only Alco engine I have is the Super Spirit first year edition. The first ones that were produced was back in 1974 for a catalog, and they first came out with the gold around the presidential logo. And I was wrong on the years. It was 1973 and 74 where they produced them, where it was shown on the catalog. I got the year, sorry, but this is actually a little bit of a rare model, especially if it has the gold, but most of the time people grab them right by this area. Yeah, and this is how the logo gets flaked, so I would recommend trying to pick it up without scratching the logo too much, and this is a little bit valuable. Now with the S7s, a few of them have cabooses and tank cars to go along with it, but with the F7s, I have two KM Pacifics, but both of these are completely different. One of them is actually a factory air locomotive, And if you try to spot the difference, this one's actually a factory error, and this one is the real way it was stamped. Because if you look closely, the number was actually printed the opposite side around. So, and the printing ending too is a little bit. If you can see it right there on the N right there, and the gap between the Pacific, it's a little like a little mixed up, unlike with the real one here. But these are actually a little bit hard to find. Anything with factory error units. But let me show you what the real one is. So apparently with the printing, it's supposed to go around these little edges right here, the little rivets. So where the letters are like spaced around, but with this one, it was been printed right over it. And the number is also on the back too. Apologies if my voice is a little bit mixed, is because. And I also have a couple other accessories around some of these units too, like the bobber cabooses. I have a Game Pacific bobber caboose, which is a little bit hard to find in unused condition. Like this is the untouched one. It's like completely, it's completely red. But also a couple other ones for the Illinois Central Illinois Car Northwestern. I do have a car with this, and I ran this in both of their videos. It was this rare tank car, and this tank car only appeared on a specific catalog. It was a Mantua catalog. Unlike with the Tyco catalog, they produce 5 different kind of tank cars, but Mantua in their catalog introduced a 6th one, and this is what they introduced. Even though I haven't not known why Mantua only showed this car in the catalog rather than Tyco shown the 5 common tank cars, but not this one. The information is still ongoing, but this tank car is actually very valuable. I do have another rarities channel showing about freight cars. This time we're only doing the engines. And for our other couple of rare ones is a Chesapeake in Ohio, but unlike the double power one I have, this one's actually a little bit of the reverse color. Since this unit came out in 1960, they first done the gray top and they done the blue bottom. But unlike with the other one, which came out a couple of years later, this is the newer model. This is what the first year is. It was like the gray top and the blue bottom, but this one is a gray bottom and a blue top. It's a little bit similar, but these are a little bit more different. Like this one came out first, then this one came out second, and this one's also hard to find too. And I'll show you why this is actually hard to find. So with double power units, some of these are actually made by Tyco, but some people actually made these custom. Like with this one, it has one motor here and another motor here, and some of these actually do work. And some of these are actually very rare, or if they sometimes run or they don't. But these are actually still collectibles items, because what Tyco is supposed to do, they hook up 2 motors so it can allow to pull more freight cars. But unfortunately, one of these motors can actually run faster than the other one. With my other 2 examples, with this one I haven't shown on YouTube just yet. This one has a running motor, 2 running motors. Let me show you. 1, 2. One of these motors actually runs faster than the other, so it can put a little bit of a stress on the other other engine. But if you look closely, there's a rubber band here, which I don't want to break right off, is because if I break this right off, these little rubber bands which provide gripping power to pull cars, I'm going to be a little bit in trouble. And this is the only Burlington S7 I have that's actually in really good mint condition. And with the last one I have, which I haven't featured just yet, is a double power unit of the Santa Fe, a Super Chief, which is also another. This one's black bottom, but this one's actually gray bottom with a double power motor. And with any of these shells, with any of the double motors, these are actually very hard to find. I did see a couple of these on eBay though, but I don't have the kind of model. They use different They use different kind of shells. and they provide it with 2 motors on the bottom. And these are experimental units. He's trying to make pull cars with it, but yeah, we'll put these up to the side. And I forgot to show you on the bottom of the Chesapeake and Ohio one for the 60s one, like a little bit of a quickie. It's a low silver bomb, and this is a single power. And for another rare one is the Baltimore and Ohio. This is a first year edition where in 1959 they introduced the Model F7. But with the first ones, when the shark nose was going right through, they actually done the exact same process where they done the motor of the exposed gear. This is 1959 and with the exposed gear. And this is the first year two that they came out, unlike with this one. But the reason why they had to put covers on these to protect the gears is because so much hair and some stuff can get in those gears and it can block the engine. Like in a couple years later, this is a 1960 model. I'll show you one more time. They added the cover so none of the impurity stuff can get inside there and damage the engine. And so far, these are actually really cool units, and I have a video coming up for this one too. I'll put the rest of these away. 1 second. So now with the final couple of the F7s, here's the Atlantic East Coast line caboose, which is actually another one of my profile pictures, but we're moving on to the Atlantic East Coast. So apparently with the common versions of the Atlantic East Coast is this kind of purple right here, but there's many kind of versions of this purple color on the shade or fading, but here's what a normal one looks like. But with the rare version, it came out in 1960, the first year Atlantic East Coast this came in the Tyco cog, was this darker model. And this is a very hard to find model, is because this is a darker variant, the first year edition in 1960, where it came out in the merchandise set. But in a couple years later, they changed the color. And this is their first unit here, their very first unit of the Atlantic East Coast. And I'll show you the bottom of it. It's a gray bottom, and this is a 1960 unit. And it only appeared on only a couple years with the color before the color changed here. But this is another. This is the black bottom. This is another layer here. But speaking with the Atlantic East Coast, I do have only two in my collection is a B unit. But this is unlike any other B unit, is because these are actually hard to find. It's actually a powered B unit. I do have only 2. This is actually an Atlantic East Coastline B unit, powered B unit, and I do have a New Haven, which I featured in one video of the New Haven, the superset with an A, B, B, A unit, and the 2 power units are in the front, including a B unit. But I didn't show this one, though, with the 4 locomotive one. But I'll show you again. And these are actually priced too, and these are actually very hard to find too. And for the final F7 in this video is the most viewed one on my channel, even though it's not rare, it's actually common. But I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse into the most viewed train on my channel. It's the K-National F7, and it's actually the first Tyco train to appear on the picture of the video, and it got so many views on the channel. I'm not gonna say how many views because I have to be careful of how much views I get sometimes with YouTube. I never mind, but with this one, and this is actually another cool model, but this one's a black bottom unit. I do have a silver unit, but I don't have it here right now. But But the reason why the set's actually better known as the Dominion Express is because the caboose, made only in 1 year, which is probably 1964 and 65. With the catalog, this car only appeared in only just one set, and then I also have a profile picture of me holding it in two like this. And I do have the regular caboose too, the 8-wheel caboose, along with the other bobber cabooses, but this is the only 8-wheel caboose I don't have. I don't have the Atlantic East Coast as an 8-wheel. But now we're moving on to the steam locomotives and some other switchers. But I don't know what the full length of the video is, like 15 minutes long. It's like half 15 minutes, but I'll try to trim down the videos, a few of them.